Good day everyone. So this will serve as your pre-recorded video for lesson 2, which is entitled Some Important Names in the Field of Zoology. As we all know, we have already done discussing the lesson 1, which is the branches of zoology. So I hope you familiarize it already and you know what are those branches. So in continuation of that discussion, so let's know also the names or the proponents behind the course or the field, which is zoology. So let's start with Aristotle. Aristotle is the father of zoology, father of biology, father of embryology. So, meaning to say, Aristotle is one of the proponent or one of the person behind the work of zoology, biology, and embryology. So as we already know what are those fields, right? Because we've already discussed it um in our first discussion. Next, we have Theophrastus. Theophrastus now is for the field of botany. He is called as father of botany. As we all know, botany is a field that study on plants. So particularly the discoveries of Theophrastus is in botany or is focused on the plants. So let's move forward to the next slide. We have also Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur, the proponent or behind the work of microbiology. He is the father of microbiology, meaning to say, all his works is particularly on microbiology, which means that this field is focuses on microbes or those it is called as a microscopic organism. When we say microscopic, these are those organisms that cannot be seen our naked eye. So meaning to say we will be using instrument like microscope to show this kind of organism. What are those organisms? We have bacteria, parasites, and etc. So I will be deeply discuss that in our further topics in this course. So next person, we have Gregor Mendel. So Gregor Mendel is the father of genetics. When we say father of genetics, his works or discoveries is particular on genes or heredity. Why? Because genetics is a field of science that focuses on heredity. So this topic for you to be familiarized those person behind those field so I want you to familiarize who is the father of microbiology or who is the father of biology and etc. Okay, if you have a question you can leave that in our GC. So let's move forward to another person. So we have Alexander Fleming. Alexander Fleming focuses on medicine. That's why it's called he is called as father of medicine. Aside from Alexander Fleming, we also have Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy. So when we say of taxonomy, or when we say if you are a person that is focused on taxonomy, you will be studying the classification of different species. So Carolus Linnaeus focuses or his discoveries is particular on the classification of different species. So that's why he is called as the father of taxonomy. So let's move forward to another slide. We have also Javier BICHAT. Meaning to say the discovery or the work of BICHAT, Mr. BICHAT is focused on the cells, tissues, and its structures and composition. But the amazing part of the work of Mr. Javier is that even though his works or discoveries is cannot be seen in the naked eye, he did not use microscope. So that was the amazing part of Mr. Javier. He actually start his studying about cell and tissues without using a microscope. So that was Mr. Javier Bichat. Next would be Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Anton van Leeuwenhoek is a very important man in the field of science. Why? He is the father of microscope. When we say he is the father of microscope, he is the one who actually created the very first microscope. And with the history of microscope, Anton van Leeuwenhoek is present. Kasi nga, sabi ko, he is the one created the very first microscope that the figure of it is not in the original figure today, but the figure of microscope in that time is like telescope. It has two lenses from the bottom and from the end of the microscope. So, yun lang yung description niyan ng very first microscope. It's like a telescope. Comparing today na may foundation, may base na yung microscope natin, may hands. So, comparing today, the microscope of Anton van Leeuwenhoek that has been created is like a telescope, meaning to say, it is, the lenses of it is actually two, from the bottom of it and from the end of it, or from the above and the bottom of it. Okay? So, let's move forward to another slide. We also have William Harvey. William Harvey is particular on the father of blood circulation, meaning to say, the discoveries of William Harvey is focusing on the blood, on how blood circulates inside the body of, inside the human body. Not only in the human body, but also in the animals. So, William Harvey focusing on the circulation of the blood. He studied about how our blood circulates inside our body. So, aside from William Harvey, we also have Carl Landsteiner. So, Carl Landsteiner is father of blood groups. If William Harvey studied the circulation of blood, Landsteiner also, Carl Landsteiner work about the blood group, how the blood classify, how the blood can be grouped into different into its differences. So that was the work of Carl Landsteiner. So always remember those person that having a particular field. So who is the father of microbiology, who is the father of botany, and etc. So I want you to familiarize it because in our examination it is included. So let's proceed to another slide. We also have Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin also has a big part of this field of science. That's why, because he is the father of evolution, or he once discovered the natural selection, which is explains where do the human being come from. So in science, we are come from the apes, while in the religion, the religion explains that we come from our from the Lord and from Allah. But in science, there are different perspective also. Why? Because Charles Darwin studied and discovered and works about his books called Natural Selection. In that Natural Selection, or the Evolution of Species, in that book, he explains that the human being is started with the characteristic and the feature of an apes. That's why Charles Darwin is very important of the field of sciences, because he worked about the species, or about the evolution on how human being evolved from an apes. Okay? So next to that, we also have Hippocrates. Hippocrates is a father of medicine. So, from Alexander Fleming is also a father of medicine. So, another person that studied medicine is Hippocrates. So, meaning to say, the discoveries of Hippocrates also have a big impact to the medicine. That's why he called as a father of medicine. Along the way with another person, which is Alexander Fleming. Okay, so always remember there are two fathers of medicine. We have Hippocrates and Alexander Fleming. Okay, let's move forward to another slide. So for another slide, we also have Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke now is focused on the cell. Why? He is the father of cytology. How? By discovering that the cell is look like an apartment of a monk, or it's look like a house of a bee. So Robert Hooke described it. Robert Hooke is the one who described the structure or composition of the cell. That is why he is called as the father of cytology. Next to Robert Hooke, we also have Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner is focused on, or he is the father of immunology. So when we say immunology, it is a particular field that focuses on the immune system. So probably Edward Jenner is focuses on his discoveries about immune system and its branches. So that was the work and discoveries of Edward Jenner. So let's move forward again to the next slide. We also have Wendell Meredith Stanley. Wendell Meredith Stanley is a father of virology. So when we say virology, it is actually a field that's studied in viruses, not only in viruses but also in parasites. So meaning to say, in this field, you are now studying about the genetical material of a certain virus or a parasite. So the discovery and the works of Wendell is particularly in viruses. That is why he is called as the father of virology. Virology. Okay, let's move forward to another, and the last man that is actually give a big impact in the field of science. He is Alec Jeffrey. Alec Jeffries is a father of DNA fingerprinting. So meaning to say, how can we on how the process can we look, or can we get the fingerprint of a person? Alex Jeffries is the one who studied that. So that is why in the field of criminalistics, or in the field of criminology, they have so-called the process which is fingerprinting, on how you can know the person's fingerprints because of that process, and that process is the study of Mr. Alex Jeffrey. So that was the end of this discussion. This is actually particular on the person behind those field of sciences. So I want you, in this time, I want you to familiarize it. Why? In accordance to the branches, this person is very important also. Why? Because you will know that those person who has a big impact on the field of science, or in the branch of sciences. So that's why in this discussion, it is very fact and understandable that all of this is actually being not explained deeper, kasi nga ang kailangan lang naman natin is the name of the proponent and the field that has been studied. So that's why if you've already listened to this, don't worry if it's very summarized, kasi nga yun yung very important, that you know who is the father of microbiology, you know who is the father of DNA fingerprinting. So yan lang yung pinafocus natin. Okay? So if you have no more questions, and if you have question, you can leave it in our GC. And thank you very much for listening today. I hope that after this one, you now familiarize those fathers, or those person behind the field of sciences. So thank you very much. Have a nice day and stay safe, because along the way we have a bad weather. So probably sana wag nang lumabas, and even though you have an unstable connection, magstay na lang sa bahay. Maiintindihan naman yan ng mga teachers. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Have a safe day.